Today on Waka Waka World, well, it takes us to Badagry. It's a quiet coastal town with very heavy history for Nigeria and West Africa generally. Once a major port in the transatlantic slave trade, Badagry was a final departure point for thousands taken across the Atlantic. Today, its relics and monuments still speak. So, if only we're willing to listen. So let's take this segment here, Waka Waka World, as the Waka Waka Doctor takes us to Badagry.
This is Badagry. It's a place that's rich in history and, of course, culture. A popular tourist destination for those who feel like visiting Lagos. This place has echoes of a very dark past that still lingers on. Today, we're going to walk a path that has been walked by thousands. And I want to show you the brutal part of it. Badagry, a name that echoes with the cries of millions. Known today for its beauty, rich culture, and serene beaches. For centuries, Badagry was a major port in the transatlantic slave trade, a gateway to untold horrors for many Africans. And this is where our journey begins. Welcome to Badagry, a place that's quiet on the surface, but if you listen, you can hear the cries, the pain, and the anguish of our ancestors. This is a place built for slaves. It's a place that has housed thousands and thousands of my ancestors, your ancestors. This story is about the price of human greed. Welcome, world travelers. I am Waka Waka Doctor, and I'll be your tour guide on this journey of Waka Waka World.
Where we are currently is known as the Brazilian Barracoon of Chief Seriki Faremi Williams Abbas. During the period of slavery, this is the compound they used to keep the slaves. There are 40 rooms in this compound, and in each of the rooms, 40 slaves are kept in each of the rooms. Minimum of 1,600 slaves are kept in this compound for 3 months. Before the arrival of the slave ship, they will now move the slaves out from the cell, across the port, across the Lagos Port Novo Lagoon, down to a place called Point of No Return. All over the world today, the compound we are is known as Brazilian Barracoon. A barracoon is a Spanish word, meaning a slave cell where they used to keep the slaves. Is the cenotaph of the man who owns this compound, called Seriki Williams Abbas, a former slave that later became a slave trader. Seriki Williams Abbas, the name of the first slave owner, the second slave master, Mr. Williams, and the Muslim title given to him. Over here are some of the European products used in exchange of slaves in West Africa. In Badagry, the value of an umbrella was 40 slaves. A bottle of gin in Badagry was 10 slaves. These are the cannons. We have the cannon gun. The bigger size of the cannon gun was 100 slaves, while the shorter one for 40 slaves. The den gun was also used in exchange of 40 slaves.
This wall vexes the hell out of me, like it annoys me. Do you know what it means to actually sell another human being for umbrella? You mean to say me, head to toe, 40 of us, one umbrella. Imagine this. You're a young man, a warrior, or a woman, a mother. You live peacefully in your village until one fateful night, your life changes forever. You are captured, shackled, marched for days without food or water. Then you arrive here in Badagry. Wow. Oh boy. You have to think and ask yourself, what level of greed would make you put another human being in this condition? Like, honestly, ask yourself. You just look at some of these things, and if it doesn't burn a fire inside you, I don't know what else will.
Where we are is the male slave cell. The male and the female are kept into separate slave rooms for them not to have any sexual intercourse within themselves. 40 slaves, 40 able men are kept in here, and that is the only ventilation for 40 slaves. And this is where they were kept for 3 months. These are the plates, these are the ceramic bowl. Each of the plates was using exchange of 10 slaves, meaning 50 slaves were using exchange of 5 ceramic bowls. This is the money we spent in Africa in the olden days, called cowrie. Yoruba called this uweyo. But when the white people came to us in Africa, they refused to accept these from we the blacks as a means of exchange. And this led to the introduction of trade by barter. Where we are is the female slave cell. 40 female and their children are kept in there for 3 months. And that is the only ventilation for 40 female and their children. That is where they excrete, that is where they urine, that is where they did their messes. Some of the pregnant women were also captured as slaves, and they gave birth to their baby in there. And don't forget, a child of a slave automatically is also a slave. We have the picture of some of the slaves returning. Here's the picture of the man called Santos Silva. If you have some friends, some relatives, bearing names like Santos, Silva, Cole, Coca, Smith, Johnson, Williams, Salvador, Salvador, Daminda da Costa da Rocha, Ricardo, they are all slaves returning.
What did we do? What did we do to deserve this? Why? It's inhumane. It's ridiculous. 40 people in this tiny space with one window. They eat here, they sleep here, they urinate here, they defecate here. This forbidden well. It is said that every slave who was sold in Badagry had to walk around it 3 times and then drink from it. Why? To make them forget. How's that for tragic irony? Tell us a little bit about the forbidden well.
The spot where the government of Nigeria called this well slave spirit attenuation well. Attenuation means to weaken or to lust. At this spot, they will stop the slaves, fetch the water out for them to drink. After they drank water from this well, they are to become less aggressive. They are to lose their memory and their senses. It took the slaves 3 to 4 months while on the voyage of the ship before getting to their final destination. The main reasons why they used to weaken their memory and their senses was this. In the slave cargo, it may be 800 slaves in a single cargo. It may be more than that, depending the size of the ship, with about 10 to 15 European slave dealers that will be taking the slaves down to their final destination. So when the ship gets to the high sea, the slaves want to make use of their total number to revolt against their masters in order to hijack the ship from their masters so that they can gain their freedom. So it was later that the European slave dealers, in collaboration with the black chiefs, they came up with the idea of digging this well. A charm was added to the water, and the water became poisonous. Mostly, some will ask, is the water still effective, or the water is no more effective? Nobody can answer that question, because in the whole of this island, nobody drinks and fetches water from this well.
This is the forbidden well. It's not just a source of water, but it's a psychological manipulation of the human being. The Badagry slave market is where unspeakable things happened. Men, women, and children are auctioned off to the highest bidder. European traders set up shop here, and thousands of Africans were sold off to plantations in the Americas and the Caribbean.
The island we have is called Berefu Island, G-B-E-R-E-F-U. Berefu is a Yoruba word, meaning a dry land. An island is a place surrounded by water. Here we have a lagoon, while the other side of the island we have Atlantic Ocean. And during the period of slavery, nobody lives in this island. When someone is captured living here, he or she will be captured as a slave. And the slave routes that leads to the point of no return, formerly before it used to be a narrow path, why the slave will have to walk in a single file down to the point of no return. While walking down there, a slave don't put on cloth, a slave don't put on shoe. The only cloth only found on their body is the big chain around their neck, the chains around their hands, and the shackles around their legs.
Here, you will be sold like cattle, stripped of your dignity, separated from your family, and then you're sent on a journey you might never return from. They call this the point of no return. But let's not get it twisted. Our ancestors were not passive victims. Oh, no, 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 no. They resisted with every ounce of strength they had. Entire kingdoms fought back. The Yoruba, the Dahomey, the Benin Kingdom, they fought tooth and nail to defend their people from the slave raids. They didn't always succeed, but their courage, their defiance, it will always live on.